How bad is it for kids to be watching something while eating? If there's mums and dads out there who are struggling with what to feed their kids.
In the future, 1 in 10 kids that are going to be obese are going to be from India by 2030.
What if your child is a fussy eater? Your child refuses to eat. What do you do?
You cannot start solids at 4 months. It is not okay. This formula shaming needs to stop. It's so self-inflicted. Like the moms feel so bad.
What is a food that's actually really harming our kids' gut, but we're not aware of it?
That's such a loaded question. A lot of people tell you, oh, kids don't need cow's milk anymore.
Why is fried so bad for you?
So the reason that fried is so bad is because of the way we're cooking it. We're feeding our kids these pancakes, but what we're not realizing is just because it's no refined sugar, it's still sugar. They're using cocoa instead of cacao, so cocoa is so processed. Vitamin D is one supplement I recommend all toddlers take.
If you had to name like the 5 most unhealthy things for children to eat, what would they be? When my toddler eats well, I feel like I've nailed motherhood. But when he doesn't eat, it wrecks me. It literally tears me apart. As a mom, I'm constantly asking, are they getting enough protein? How do I make meals healthier? How do I get them to eat? Is milk really that terrible for my child? Is baby-led weaning worth it? In this episode, I sit down with child nutritionist Sanchita Daswani to get the answers every parent deserves. This episode will change the way you feed your child and the way you feel about it. And hey, if you've ever bribed your kid with a breadstick, hit that subscribe button, you're in the right place. Now, we know how overwhelming it can be to figure out what's actually right for your child's health. And we didn't want this episode to just add to the noise. We wanted it to actually help. So through this episode, clinical nutritionist Sanchita Daswani is offering one free consult to support one parent in navigating their child's diet with clarity, confidence, and zero guilt. Comment below to be considered. We'd love to help make things a little easier for you. So with today's conversation, I want to kind of talk to you about the intent. I think this is a topic, if there's moms and dads out there who are struggling with what to feed their kids and struggling with the entire experience of having to plan your child's meals, what to give them, is it sufficient enough? Is it nutritious enough? Is it doing well enough for their body? And this massive responsibility that is kind of on us. That's what I'm kind of hoping to solve for through the questions today and kind of what we're going to have. I'm obviously a new mom, fairly new. So this is a very exciting conversation with me. And I've got my pen and paper because I'm going to make so many notes. But I'm going to start with what is kind of the most talked about thing right now for kids and adults. And it's kind of, for adults for sure, and it's kind of trickling down to the babies and the toddlers as well, which is protein, right? So how much protein is really required for a child?
Yeah, this is such a good conversation, an important topic to have because for adults, we are obsessed with our protein. We are
Yeah.
trying to get so much, but for kids, it's not a big deal. And I'll tell you this, in the first year of life, they're getting most of their protein from breast milk and formula. Okay. Post 1 year of age, they only need 13 grams of protein a day. Now, let me put that into perspective for you. If your child, even if your child doesn't love all the food items, okay, if they eat egg, 1 egg is 6 grams.
Mm.
If they have cow's milk, if they drink milk, 240 ml has 8 grams. So if your child is having some milk and an egg, they're actually good.
Mm.
And a lot of kids love yogurt. Few tablespoons of that will be like 4 grams. Then again, in all Indian households, we have our dals.
Yes.
So just a half cup of dal can have, a good 5-6 grams of protein. So this obsession that we have as adults does not need to be there for kids. And I know
Mm.
that so many brands are coming out saying these protein mixes, these milk mixes, there's no need to give it to your kids because even things like oats and bread and pasta, like whole wheat pasta has protein. So actually protein should not be the focus for parents.
Mm. And what are some of the best sources of protein for kids?
Yeah. So dairy is very important. I know there's a lot of flack about dairy. We can get into that as well. But to be honest, for growing kids, cheese, yogurt, milk is so important. Egg, if your family allows for it, if the dietary preference is there, egg is really, really important as well. And of course, your lentils, your beans, your tofu, your grains. It's about for kids, it really is about variety as much as you can. And honestly, a lot of the things we already have in our house. And so many parents, when I tell them, they're like, oh, wait, I do give this to my kids. And they
Yeah.
feel much better. So it's all simple things that you have in your house already.
Mm. So, what's your take on kids being vegan? Actually, let me take it a
Mm,
step backwards.
mm,
What's your take on milk for kids? Because I
yeah,
think this is quite a controversial topic. Doctors and pediatricians today are advising
yeah,
against milk.
yeah. Yeah, this is something I struggled with my kids as well because I was on this path of animal rights and I don't want to give my kids cow's milk. And that's a fair choice for a parent if they want to make it. But the reality is that kids need a lot of calcium. They need a lot of good fats. They need their B12, and milk provides that. So a lot of people tell you, oh, kids don't need cow's milk anymore. They don't need it. But if you make a decision to not give your kid cow's milk, you have to make sure that they're getting enough calcium from other sources. From 240 ml of milk, they can get 300 mg. They need
Hmm.
700 mg a day. So you see how cow's milk just helps meet half the needs. So if you choose not to give it, that's okay. But then you need to make sure that you're giving enough sources that also have calcium. So make sure the yogurt, cheese, ragi, tofu. But reality is we know our kids. They're
Yeah.
not always eating. So cow's milk is totally okay as long as, of course, we find decent quality.
Yeah.
But for a while, I didn't want to give my kids cow's milk. So I went through the route of doing supplementation, giving them a calcium supplement, which honestly, there's no major study showing that it actually helps. So we're not sure about that. And then I went in the whole soy milk
Hmm.
because if you compare plant-based milks, none of them match cow's milk except for soy and pea milk in terms of the fat and protein.
Okay.
And pea milk does not taste good. And soy milk is okay, but honestly, there's still so much conflicting studies about the effect on the hormones.
Yeah.
So it's hard. And at the end of the day, these plant-based milks do have fillers. They do have gums, which long term can affect the gut. So, after doing all that research, doing so many different things, and I gave my kids oat milk for a while.
Hmm.
And my son used to get so hyper after it. And I never made the connection till much later that I realized oat milk is just carbs. It's not giving the calcium, the protein, the fat that they need. And I was like, oh my God, he's getting a blood sugar spike. That's why he's
Yeah.
getting so hyper.
Yeah.
So I went through it all. So if you are deciding whether or not to give cow's milk, it is a personal choice. But I really feel for growing kids, it is totally okay. And actually, the benefits outweigh the harm.
Okay. And is your supermarket, bought cow's milk okay? Does that cut it?
Yeah. So when you're at the supermarket, number one, make sure you look for the one in the fridge because you know it's fresh. If it says organic, that would be really good because you know they're not getting injected with the antibiotics and hormones. Grass fed is also very important. So to be honest, the regular Tetra packs and all, they go through such high heat that they actually break up the composition that makes
Hmm.
it difficult to digest. So luckily, in India, even in Dubai, you can find decent milk that's a bit more fresh.
Hmm.
That's a better option. So there are a lot of companies who are really trying. We don't know 100%, but it's definitely okay.
What if your child is a fussy eater?
Hmm.
Your child refuses to eat. What do you do?
That's such a loaded question, but I love it. There's
Yeah, let's break it
yeah,
down
yeah.
because I did a bunch. I sat down with a bunch of moms, by the way, before this
Uh-huh.
conversation, and I got the questions in from them.
Mm,
And this one was just
yeah.
repeatedly, one mom actually followed this up with, is she trying to tell me something? Like,
Mm,
why is she refusing to eat? Is she trying to
mm.
tell me something? So,
I appreciate that question of hers because to be honest, the reality is half of the kids today are picky eaters. Half of them are not getting enough nutrition. And also, the scary thing is, whatever we're doing at meal times is not working because today the statistics are showing that in the future, 1 in 10 kids are going to be that are going to be obese are going to be from India by 2030. And every year, the rate of obesity is rising. So, our kids are not eating, they're not happy, but at the same time, we're making all this effort, but it's not leading to the right results. So, why are so many kids picky eaters today? And I've worked with so many parents, and I can tell you there's a common thread. And it's not your child, it's us parents. It's how we respond when our child refuses a food. It's how we panic when they want to get off the high chair. Because when they don't want to sit, when they don't want to try a vegetable, what are we doing? We are distracting them. we are forcing them. We are saying, okay, just put on the TV, or just like, how can they do this to us? And we take it so personally. Instead of getting to the root cause of it, why do they not want to touch the vegetable? Why are they not wanting to sit? We are masking it and just saying, okay, just get this TV and just watch. And look, I get it. Nutrition is the most important thing for kids because it affects their focus, their mood, their growth, energy, everything. But all I want parents to do is take a moment and think that instead of being so obsessed about quantity for our kids, let's focus on connection, on helping them build a relationship with food. That is where we are having that
Okay, so
mistake.
for example, right,
Yeah.
let's break this down. So
Yeah.
for example, I put food on my toddler's high chair,
Yeah.
and then he says, I don't want it.
Right.
And he throws it down on the floor.
Correct.
So how should I react?
Okay. So what you need to do is, first of all, understand that they're humans and they're probably a toddler. So they are in a state of autonomy. They want to show they're in control, right? So first of all, you need to check a few things. Number one, check the schedule. Are they hungry enough, or are they too full? Make sure the timing is correct. Number two, make sure you're not giving them a whole bowl of food that you know they don't like. Make sure there's a safe food, some yogurt, some rice, something you know they're okay with. So a lot of times we just put a new food and we're like, eat it, or like we just shove food in front of them, right? So check the schedule. Number two, make sure there's a safe food. If they say we don't want it, you do this. You say, yes, I understand. You really don't want to eat right now, because that will calm them down. If you just say, oh my God, what's going on? They're not going to appreciate that. So, first, acknowledge their feelings. Number two, you say, this is what is there for lunch. So, this is what it's going to be. And would you like, and then they're saying, no, we want something else. We want orange juice. Or say, I understand you want orange juice. This is all there is. You can have orange juice later. Why don't we have it for snack? So what we're doing is we are accepting, we are setting boundaries, but then we're not giving them other options, because they learn through consequences. They know I'm going to reject it, then 2 minutes later, I'm going to get my cheese sandwich or so. So you have to set boundaries, and suppose they run away. We're done. It's okay. You try again in 30 minutes. If they don't want to eat, you end the meal and then you bring snack time a bit closer. So what you need to do is, as a parent, have boundaries, but be a bit flexible, because they are kids. They want to run, they want to play.
Of course, but I
Yeah.
think this is an ideal scenario.
Yeah.
So if I'm putting like paratha
Yeah.
and yogurt in
Yeah.
front of my child, he
Yeah.
loves yogurt,
Yeah.
as do most kids,
Yes.
and he's going to eat that up.
Yeah.
He'll say, I want more yogurt, but
Mhm.
I don't want the paratha.
Yeah.
So he's had 2 bowls of yogurt, and then he says, I'm done.
Right.
So I just let him be done.
So what you do is you say, okay, he's had his yogurt, so he's got his protein and all of that. Then what you do is, when snack time comes, see, you cannot control what they are going to eat, but you can control what you're going to offer and how you're going to respond. So when snack time comes, I know he didn't get any carbs. So in snack time, I'm going to make sure I put that carb there. I'm going to make sure that there's a tikki, there's a peanut butter sandwich, there's options that are carbs. So if his body needs those calories and the carbs, he will meet it. We expect that we put them food in front of them and they are just going to eat everything, but they are also trying to figure out what their body needs. So you
yeah.
have to work meal by meal. It's tough. It's honestly, even sometimes my kids will have 2 bites and they're like, we're done. I'm like, are you joking? Like, are you serious? And it takes me a minute, but I was like, okay, you know what? I'm going to trust them, because for me, I'm looking at the long term.
Because toddlers do this a lot, right?
Yeah.
They make up scenarios that is in their control. So they'll
Mhm.
say, feed me while I'm playing with the
Mhm.
ball. Feed me in my playroom. Feed me like
Yeah.
this. And these are all breaking the rules of, well, good
Yes.
eating
Yeah.
as such.
Yeah.
So what do you do in those scenarios?
Yeah. So honestly, I feel that it's okay to meet a midway. I don't really believe in the strict, you just put the food and then they eat it, because for a kid, that's not going to last. And I believe that mealtime is about connection, about having fun, making it fun. So, number one, if you can even try making it fun at mealtimes, the number one thing parents don't do is eat with their child. They just sit there and stare at the child, and they expect the child to sit there and gobble up food and be like, I'm good for 45 minutes. It ain't going to happen. So, number one, you can play background music. You can have fun with the food. Say, let's let's dip. You can eat it. Say, feed me. It's about them feeling safe around food. So end of the day, I don't promote really playing and eating because again, that's distraction. So they don't know what's actually going in their mouth,
Yeah.
right? So then when they're on their own, they won't feel safe around that food. So, and that's why Masoom, I was telling you, it's so important in the beginning, the 6 to 12 months, to set that foundation so that when they become toddlers, they want to run around. It's much easier.
I set this foundation. I
Yeah.
will have to agree to disagree with
Yeah.
you. I set this foundation
And it's still-
beautifully with my son. And he was, by the way, amazing with food.
Yeah.
He literally would grab everything that was in front of him. I did baby-led weaning with him.
Yeah.
It worked wonderfully. But as soon as he got, like, he developed a brain of his own,
Yeah.
and he realized that when I scream and shout things and they get done, it all kind of backfires. And
Right. But you see, but that's because of the way we respond. Because when he's screaming, we're like, oh my God, okay, fine. But that's when you have to hold your ground. Yes, I know you want to play and eat. I get it. But meal times have to be on the high chair. Shall we play with this dinosaur or that after that? So it's how we respond, and
yeah,
we
I
have
hear
to
you.
set some limitations. And
Yes.
honestly, for more, and so many of us live with people around us, with in-laws and all. So even if we try, it doesn't
Yes,
last
yes,
because
of
then the
course.
in-laws will come in and say, how can you do this? And, let him just enjoy as long as he eats.
As long as he eats. That's the vicious
Yeah,
one.
and that happens with sugar as well.
Yeah.
As long as they're eating something. Just the other day, one of my clients was telling me that she's adding sugar to all the meals because at least he's eating. And it's
Yeah.
it's hard because it's literally stuck in our brain that this quantity needs to happen. Like, imagine you're at a restaurant and you're eating your favorite pasta and you leave 2 bites. And the waiter, the chef, the manager, they all come out, they stand in front of you and they say, hey, you left 2 bites, finish it. And you're like, no, I'm good. Thank you. I enjoyed it, but I'm done. No, you can't leave this restaurant until you're done these 2 bites. Are you ever going to go to that restaurant again?
No.
Then how do we expect our kids to sit on the high chair every time when we just get so excited to shove the food in their mouth?
Yeah.
And see, Masoom, even I struggle with this daily. But I'm just hoping that with my work and just helping parents understand the point of it all, that at least a little bit of that awareness is there so we can try and make those better choices and try and slowly move towards our kids really developing a good relationship with food.
How bad is it for kids to be watching something while eating?
It's not okay for your child to watch the screen while eating, because what's happening is when they are watching the screen, they have no idea what's going in their mouth. And what's going to happen then is when they go out in the world on their own, 2 things are going to happen. Number one, every time they see a screen, their brain gets triggered. I need to eat. And they start eating and mindlessly eating. And that's when obesity, all these things are rising. And the second thing that happens is when they're watching the screen and eating, they are not aware of food. So when they go out in the world, they don't trust food. They will not eat what's right for them, and they will end up eating those packaged foods. They will not feel comfortable around foods. They will overeat. They will become emotional eaters like so many of us have. And this is exactly why obesity, diabetes, high cholesterol, all these things are happening to us at such a young age. So just because as parents we want that short-term happiness that our kid finished a bowl, we're like, okay, let's get it done. But the long-term consequences are causing so much harm. I have seen kids throwing up after meal times because they've eaten bowls and bowls of food, but they had no idea and their body couldn't even handle it. I have seen kids who will not touch food because they are scared of it. I don't think that's what we want for our kids. And so many of us have such a bad relationship.
Yeah, 100%. And even if we don't, I think we see so many people around us that have it. So, what is this Indian parent mentality? And I'm kind of a part of it, by the way. It's no blame here. Like, why is it that, like, I don't even know whether it's Indian parent or it's just parent in general, but we love to force our kids to eat. And it's almost like this mentality where like, let them eat as much as they want and as much, almost to the point of like overfeeding. Is this something that you see across races, or is it just us?
It's actually, for some reason, really, really embedded somehow in our roots, it looks like. And I realized that it's because of the people around us,
Hmm.
the nannies.
Yeah.
And it starts not only from food, it starts with milk. I've heard so many horror stories of how babies have been forced to chug a certain amount of milk because the nanny has said so. I have had the in laws saying, put sugar in all the food just so they eat. So even us as individuals, if we are like, okay, let's try baby-led weaning, we can do it. We are a modern Indian parent. We got this. As soon as we start and our kid is playing with food, the commentary, you're starving your child.
Yeah.
How can you do that? And then us as parents, we're not as confident about it. So we're like, 10 people are telling us, so forget it.
It's not
It's
worth
not
it.
worth the fight.
It's not worth the drama.
It's not worth it. Oh, he's so skinny. Oh my God. I don't know why people are obsessed with this chubby baby is a happy baby.
I
It's not a
agree.
thing.
I completely agree with you. And I literally have to correct my own family members because every time they see my kids, they're like, oh, he's become so skinny. I said, you say this every single time. So how is he even there? He should have disappeared at this point because how has he gotten skinnier? And I feel like this is where like the body image issue starts like so early back on because they're subconsciously hearing this. Oh, he's lost so much weight. Oh, he's become so skinny. And skinny is bad when you're a kid, and then skinny is good when you're an adult. So it's so confusing for the brain.
And the interesting thing, which is a very important fact, so a lot of parents will say, just feed the baby. So they're so skinny. It's okay. But what's happening is every time you're eating too much, the body is storing all that extra stuff as fat cells. And it's okay, it's there. So you're skinny. Once you hit puberty, those fat cells expand. They
Mm,
become big. And that's why so many of us, we overate as kids. And once we went through puberty and as we got older, it's become so hard for us to lose that weight or maintain that
yeah.
because of the habits that were created. So,
And how does one kind of deal with this whole grandparent food syndrome, right? Because it's a real problem.
yeah.
It was my father, so my son's grandfather, who first introduced chocolate into his life.
Mm,
And he thought it was a way of personal connection. But it's a thing because they feel like it's a way to connect.
yeah.
Sugar and chocolate is a way to connect with the child. It's a reward, and it's why would you deprive your child of chocolate? But it is so hard and difficult to have this conversation with the grandparents.
Yeah.
How do you kind of deal with that?
I deal with the same thing because I also stay with my in-laws, and then they'll give them the jam biscuits and all of that, and they're like, and they're so happy.
Yeah,
Everyone's so
and
happy.
Parle G.
Yeah, and the party and everyone's just in a good mood except the mother. But everyone's living their life and they're like, this is fine. And it's important as an adult and a parent to have boundaries. So, what I would tell all parents is look, end of the day, sugar is not going anywhere. You can do it, it's fine. But you have to stand your ground as a parent. At the end of the day, it's your child. If you don't stand up for your child, no one else will. And it can spiral. So you definitely have to put a foot down. And what you can do is do it once in a while, or you can find better alternatives, or tell them to go somewhere else to a playroom or a park and find other experiences of joy. But honestly, it is something we all deal with, but you got to have some boundaries.
So the only solution is to actually just draw that boundary.
Yeah, because
So give
honestly,
me an example of like what
yeah.
you would say to what like
Or
what I would say to a grandparent.
right. So now what I do with my in-laws is if they're like, oh, we're going to give jam biscuits, I said, okay, first of all, before the jam biscuit, I look at my kids. What are you going to do? They already know. They go in the kitchen, they get 4 cashews because they're going to line their stomach, right? Then they're going to eat that jam biscuit. And then after that, they are going to run around and, just burn off that glucose spike. So what I'm doing in the world, they're going to come across a lot of people who are going to offer them sugar. So this is actually a test for us as parents, but we have to teach our kids how to handle the situation, because how long are we going to be around saying,
Yeah.
oh no, stop, no, 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 don't take it. So instead, switch it to actually train your kids how to handle sugar in life because it ain't going anywhere. It's going to be there. So now my kids know.
What is a food that's actually really harming our kids' gut, but we're not aware of it?
Oh, it's all the packaged foods with the sugars in it. And what's happening is now there's this whole marketing of no refined sugar. So we all get excited. We buy that pancake mix and we make it for our kids. No refined sugar. It's perfect. And we're feeding our kids these pancakes. But what we're not realizing is just because it's no refined sugar, it's still sugar. So you're feeding your child 16 grams of sugar, even though it's jaggery, even though it's coconut sugar,
It's
it's
just sugar.
harming them. But I've seen so many parents do that. And then their kids are hyper and angry the whole day, and they're just in major tantrums and they're not able to link it. So you have to look at the back and you have to look at added sugars. I don't care if it says no refined sugar. That is not okay or convincing for us parents. But the thing is, see, I'm a nutritionist, so I'll sit and look and do all of that. But for parents, we don't, right? We get convinced by this.
Yeah. If you had to name like the 5 most unhealthy things for children to eat, what would they be?
Number 1 would be sodas. Number 2 would be, I would say, candies because it's pure sugar. Number 3 would be chips because of the sodium content and the inflammatory oils as well. I would say the other thing would be all these processed meats. So all our chicken nuggets and the Happy Meals and the fries and all this fast food. And the 5th thing I would say is like the fried food we eat at home as well. So those are.
Why is fried so bad for you?
So the reason that fried is so bad is because of the way we're cooking it and the oils we are using.
Okay.
So what's happening is when you're cooking the fries and the samosas and all of that and you're eating it, there's a lot of inflammation because the oils that are being used, they are heated at such high levels that when they break down in the body actually gets into fight or flight mode. And that's when it triggers the gut, it triggers inflammation, and that's really, really harmful in the long term.
Coming back to sugar, is chocolate really bad for kids?
So, and it was so funny because that day my son's like, "Oh, I'm going to choose ice cream over candy because at least the ice cream there's some dairy, right? So there's some protein."
Oh, wow.
And I was like, "You're
He
right."
did that math really well.
Yeah. So he's good at math, and he will actually check with me like the back of the labels and be like, "Oh, 4
Wow.
grams of protein. This is good." So chocolate is bad because it's not great because they put too much excess added sugar, like literally white sugar. They're using cocoa instead of cacao. So cocoa is so processed. End of the day, a packaged food is a packaged food. It's gone through a process. So when your body's having it, it's like, what is this thing? It's not supporting my body. It is hurting my body. So no, chocolates are not great. My kids eat it. Yeah, my kids eat it, but it's not great.
Yeah. How do you add more iron to a kid's diet?
Iron is a big thing because so many kids are low on iron these days.
Yes.
And even us adults, so many
Yeah.
of us. So the thing is they need a lot of iron. But the problem is a lot of us are vegetarian and a lot of our kids are vegetarian. So even if you're giving your child a half cup of dal, they're only absorbing maybe 10% of the iron in it. So how to get more iron in? Number 1, make sure there's 2 sources of iron in every meal.
Okay.
So for example, you're giving dal and rice for lunch. Okay? Add some spinach, add some beetroot, sprinkle some nuts and seeds on the rice because it will just help get more in. Or if you're giving oats, right? Just add some peanut butter in there. That's going to help. The second thing is always pair it with vitamin C. So if you're giving oats, give a strawberry because studies show.
But this is too much. Like, who has the time for this? Honestly. I mean, you have it in the beginning.
You get excited and you're like,
after a point of time, like when your child is like 2-3 years old, you're like,
just
you're
get it
eating.
done.
I'm elated that you're eating the food. At that point, to throw in a nut or a seed, which he might reject the entire meal for, is so tricky.
I get it, but actually feel that it's not.
I'm so sorry. I'm just being devil's
I know.
advocate because I feel like I'm standing for like
No,
the
you
mom community.
no 100% you should, because but the fact is cashew, like if you take cashew powders, they're
Yeah.
white.
Yeah, so powder it. I mean, that's a great one.
100%, that's what I
Yeah.
mean. Like powder it,
Okay.
add it in the dal, they're not going to know it's there.
So hidden stuff is.
Yeah, so see, a lot of people will say, don't hide it. Oh my God, you're going to scar them. I'm like, look, we're parents. We got to get through this day. Powder it, put it in, and let your child have it. So whatever foods your kids like, see how you can make it a bit better. So if your child is only eating oats every day,
That's such a good hack, by the way.
if they only want to eat oats every day, how can I make it better? Okay, instead of, okay, one day I'll add some cashew powder. One day I'll add, like pistas, or like do the same color, or use a different oil. Just these small changes will help them get different nutrition.
So my kid loves a plain paratha. How would I make that better?
Okay, so number one, add cashews because they're white.
Okay.
Okay, so that's going to help. Number two, you can try and cook it with a different oil. Now, of course, it'll have a different taste, but you can try it, see how they do it. But these simple, small changes can really help. And with the paratha next to it, put a different vegetable. Now, suppose they don't love it. It's very important to eat with them, to make it fun. Put that broccoli there and say, let's make it like a tree, or let's roll the broccoli in the paratha. So the fact is we just expect our kids to down food and eat, eat, eat. But what if we got them to feel safe around it without their other senses? It's tiring. We don't have time for it.
Yeah, we got to do it.
But you have to do it. Who else is going to do it?
And what are coming back to iron, what are some of the best sources of iron?
You have your lentils.
Okay.
You have your beans, you have your nuts, you have your seeds. If you're non-veg, you have egg, you have all your meats.
Is pomegranate a good one?
Not really.
Oh, is that a...
It's not.
Wow, I've fallen for this.
See, the thing is, like, even all these veggies like broccoli, spinach, all of them, the issue with these is the amount you actually get is very low. So it's nice to pair it with something else, but just on its own, it won't do as much.
Interesting, very interesting.
Yeah.
Are there any signs that your baby or toddler is not getting as much nutrition as they need to?
Yeah, there are. So if your child hasn't gained weight in the last 4 or 5 months, so post 1 year of age, they do slow down with their weight gain. But if they haven't gained weight, they are suddenly craving a lot of crunchy stuff all the time. They have cold hands and feet. They are bruising easily. They are tired all the time. They're looking a bit pale. That could be low iron. If they're not sleeping easily, so a lot of kids will be up the whole day, even at night, they won't fall asleep easy. It could be low vitamin D. If your child is refusing to touch...
That's my kid. I need to make a note of that.
Yes, vitamin D is one supplement I recommend all toddlers take.
But he takes it every day.
Oh, he does take it. So maybe he's just not absorbing it well. So maybe it could be related to gut health. Maybe it's not the right dosage. And if your child is having any sensory issues, like they don't want to touch food, they don't want to chew, they're spitting out food, it could be low zinc. So that's what, as soon as we're like, oh, my kid doesn't want to eat, but it could be some of these underlying nutritional deficiencies. And it is okay to supplement them for a bit till they actually feel like they can eat again.
Of course. And what about supplements, right? Like coming to exactly what you're saying, but what about what supplements are important for kids at what age?
Yeah. So in the first year of life, vitamin D is very important. So if you're breastfeeding, you must give vitamin D. Formula depends. Once you're giving less than 30 ounces, you should supplement with vitamin D. Post 1 year, and then also before one, some doctors recommend iron because honestly, babies need a lot of iron. They need 11 mg a day. So iron is something you definitely need to check with your doctor. Post 1 based on your child's diet, because the reality is some of our kids are not eating. So it's very important to give them supplements and it's okay. So I would recommend iron, vitamin D. Those are the most important ones to look at. And then if your child has other concerns, then you can look into zinc. But the one supplement that so many kids are taking that they really don't need is your multivitamins. These multivitamins are all these different vitamins, right? But if your child is at least eating some fruits and some veggies, they're most likely
Getting
getting
all of it.
enough. So I'd rather you focus on the specific mineral that they're low on than just giving them a whole bunch of it.
What about probiotics? Do kids need to take that?
Nope, they do not need to take probiotics unless you can see some digestion issues. If you have a child that has constipation, that has diarrhea, that is farting a lot, then you know that their gut is struggling and they need some support. But it's so important to let the gut develop on its own and focus on foods. You don't need to give them a probiotic supplement unless they're really struggling with digesting things.
What are some ways? I mean, the thing is that as adults, I think most of us, like me, people around me, everyone is having so many gut issues. But what are things we can do in their childhood that could probably prevent this?
Yeah.
A healthier gut.
Yeah. So before we get into food, few simple things you can do. Number one, studies are showing movement is actually promoting gut health. So luckily our kids are always moving.
Yeah.
But also our kids are living more of a sedentary lifestyle. So make sure your kid is getting at least 1 hour of outside play every day. Number two, a vitamin D supplement also really helps with gut health. Number three is sleep. So many of our kids are sleeping now at 11, 12 at night, waking up at 7 to go to school. When we sleep, our body restores itself. So don't take it lightly. So many babies are up all day and they're not napping. So speak to someone to work on that. In terms of food, it's more about giving a bit of variety. I don't need your kid to eat bowls of vegetables. Even if they have a bite of a mango, a bite of a strawberry, what's happening is the fibers in the different fruits and veggies is feeding the different
microbiome.
Yeah. So it's more about variety than quantity.
Okay.
So definitely focus on different fiber. And luckily, the Indian diet has a lot of probiotics with your idlis, your dosas, your yogurt, rice kanji, all these different things that are kind of bland. So our kids will accept it. So these are things.
And their kids love dosa.
Yeah.
This
right?
is like their, kind of
So
go-to
that,
thing.
like, just adding that as well. And just trying to avoid those packaged foods, those added sugars, the artificial sweeteners are really important. So many of these lollipops and all are coming out, no sugar. And it's quite disturbing. I get very upset when I see those things. Even I fell for it. And I was like, oh, no sugar. And I started giving my kids. And then someone pointed it out for me. And I was like, oh, I can't believe it.
But what's there? What's
aspartame, stevia, sucralose, all these names that as parents, we don't make that connection and we give our kids. And see, they have one. The kids are not going to have 1, 2 little gummies, right? They'll have a lot. And what affects gut health is the quantity. And over time, that's what's going to happen. It's going to affect their gut health.
So what are these things that you name, sucralose and stuff?
They're artificial sweeteners.
Oh.
Yeah, like, stevia and all that we'd add.
Yeah, of course.
So as
so
adults
it's all
now,
in there.
so now they're adding it in kids' packaged foods to help parents, to convince parents to give it to their child.
How can I get my child to eat more vegetables?
So why do kids get scared of vegetables? Because we scared them.
Because we don't like them.
Because we've scared them. You have to eat your vegetable. What is wrong with you? Oh my God. Like, we make such a scene. So first of all, you can't expect after that your child to put it in their mouth. So this is a hack called food play. Okay. So can you give me a vegetable that...
every mom's favorite vegetable is broccoli.
Correct.
So I'll just go with it.
So pretend your child looks at broccoli and is like, no, thank you, not happening. What you do is simple. You take them in the kitchen and show them a broccoli. Say, this is a broccoli. Okay, great. Next day, you cut that broccoli into pieces. During playtime, you take it out and you get them to do an activity with it. Let's paint with the broccoli. Let's make a fort with the broccoli. What is that doing? That is getting your child to use broccoli with their other senses, to touch broccoli, to feel it, to smell it. That is then again taking the fear out of it. So we want our kids to put it in their mouth and they don't want to. So instead, when we start giving them a chance to touch it and feel it, once you see your kid is touching it and feeling safe around it, then every day for 21 days, put one piece of broccoli at lunchtime and don't say anything. And then what you do is every day you say, at lunchtime, you say, okay, can you make it stand like a tree? Can you feed it to me? So now you've met the next hurdle. You've got them to accept looking at and touching it at meal times. And then you will see that your child will one day try it and eat it. And this happened with my kids. They hated okra, right? So what I did, I cut it in shapes and I made them paint with it. It was like these nice flower shapes. And they started touching it. And then every day I just put one piece there and I wouldn't even say anything. And after the 5th day, my kids just put it in their mouth. And it's my daughter's favorite vegetable now.
Oh my God. Wow.
And we just want quick fixes as parents.
Yeah,
It's not going to
exactly.
work.
Exactly.
Even with our health, we just want these quick fixes. So we try and translate that onto our kids. And it's not fair to them.
What about fruit juices and smoothies? Are they, I mean, is orange juice sugar? Is it good for my baby? I don't know. He loves it.
I would say no, fruit juices are not good. Because fruit juices is you're removing the fiber and you're giving it to them. So what is left? Sugar. So as soon as they drink it, blood sugar spike, they're going to be hyper. And honestly, you'd rather make sure that they get some carbs, some fat, some protein. That's what they actually need. We are so obsessed with our kids having fruits and vegetables. That is not the most important thing.
Yeah.
What they need is carbs, protein, fat. So you're giving them that orange juice. It's going to make them feel full. It can curb their hunger for up to 4 hours. No wonder they're not eating dinner.
Is there a specific pre-dinner interval that will get them to eat dinner better?
I would say at least keep 2 hours gap between the snack and dinner,
Okay.
for sure. And if you feel that, and also make sure it's not too late, the dinner, like at least an hour before bedtime.
Yeah.
And if you feel your child is not eating dinner, you have to cut down the snack.
Yeah, you have to cut it down.
You have to cut it down. I remember I used to send my kids to school with like fruit and then something else on the side. And they'd come home and never eat lunch. And I used to get so upset at them. Like, why are you doing this to me? I cut out that extra. I just send them with the fruit and they'd come back and eat their lunch.
What are the best healthy snack options for kids? Because I know this is something that we all struggle with.
Yeah, we don't need to get in the kitchen and do anything so complicated. You can keep it very simple. You can just do fruits. You can do any form of dairy, whether it's some milk, cheese, yogurt. You can do smoothies. You can just whip up a quick smoothie with some coconut milk and fruit in it. You can do makanas. That's fine. You can do peanut butter toast. It's totally okay. You can make an energy ball. Can keep it simple. It doesn't need to be these fancy snacks.
So we're talking about like something like a makhana, right? Should we buy the packet or should we roast it like buy it from like the Kinara store and then roast it ourselves?
The best thing to do is roast it yourself, because what you do is then you roast it with some ghee. You can add a bit of masala, so at least that fat is being added. You're just in more control of making it a bit more nutrient dense. So
Okay.
you can buy the plain roasted makanas. That's okay. It's totally fine. But don't get the flavored ones because they add too much sodium in it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what about packaged food, right? What do we have to look out for in packaged food?
Yeah. So the first thing is you take a packaged food, you look at the back, look at the ingredients. Do you understand what they are? Number 2, look at any emulsifiers or preservatives. You know those numbers E45, INS. If you see those are there to make it thicker, to give it its shape. Avoid those because that damages their gut health.
Okay.
Number 3 is look at the artificial sweeteners. We don't want any of those. So if you see sucralose, aspartame, any of these words that you don't understand, avoid that. Number 4, sodium content. This is one thing we don't realize. So many packaged snacks have so much. Like kids can handle around 800 mg to 1,000. And if you're using maybe a tomato sauce that has like 400 mg, or those noodle packets that have those seasonings which has like 400 mg, no. So look at the sodium content. Then the sugar one, I want you to look for not more than 4 grams of added sugar.
Okay.
So look at the added sugar, check that. And then this last one is very important. Most packaged foods out there are just carbs, mainly, right? These cookies and all. So what I want you to do is, here's a hack. Look at the amount of carbs. Suppose it says 20 grams. Look at the amount of fiber. So what you do is you take carbs, 20 grams, divided by 5. That would be 4. Make sure there's at least 3 to 4 grams of fiber, because that means when your child eats that cookie or granola bar, it's not that they're just eating empty carbs. The fiber is going to balance it out. And if it doesn't have enough fiber, then pair that cookie
With
with
some
some,
fiber,
yeah,
with the fruit.
correct, with fruit or veggie or so.
What if your child is eating well but does not put on weight?
So I have the same concern with my kids all the time because they're eating, but they're just not putting on weight like the
Yeah.
other kids. So
Is that also because of like, is it hereditary also
yeah,
in
so
terms of?
number one, it is genetics. So especially height also is genetics. And the other thing that I checked was iron. So it's important to check their hemoglobin because sometimes if they're not gaining weight, that means their body's not able to absorb the nutrients so well. So I would check iron. And honestly, the second thing I check is digestion. So as long as the poop is okay, you know that at least they're getting, like if they're dealing with diarrhea and constipation, then you know it's really they're not able to absorb it. But honestly, if the poop is okay and their iron is okay, that's fine.
Okay, okay. And what is your take on baby-led weaning, right? I think this is another topic that has received so much controversy that should I do baby-led weaning? Should I just feed the baby? Because it can get to be such a frustrating process. But how do you feel about it and what's your expert advice?
Baby-led weaning is the way to go. And spoon feeding is just us parents having a panic attack and being so obsessed with my child needs to finish 120 ml of ragi porridge every day, and I'm going to do what I got to do to get that in their mouth. And that's not okay. And honestly, with a lot of the clients I work with, they do start with baby-led weaning and it doesn't always last. But I can tell you the beautiful thing, the clients that have followed through, their kids have such an amazing relationship with food. They will go to a hotel and they'll walk down for breakfast, and that child will be sitting there eating French toast while everyone else is running around begging their child to eat the food. So it's a lot of work short term, but the benefits are amazing and they definitely outweigh the harm. So and baby-led feeding was always around. It just got popular recently because spoon feeding is being done wrong. Because we're feeding our baby 2 bites, they close their mouth, and everyone's like, no, no, no. And automatically, the distractions, the toys, the begging happens. And then the baby's like, no one's listening to me. I'm not into this anymore. And that's when all the struggles begin.
And what about the formula versus breast milk debate?
Yeah, this is something that has to be spoken about because you don't know the amount of moms when I'm talking to them about starting solids, you know what their first line to me is? Oh, I'm so sorry, but I am doing formula. And this formula shaming needs to stop. It's not okay. And it's so self-inflicted. Like the moms feel so bad. And okay, this breast is best. Sure. Breast milk is great.
Yeah.
It's really, really good. But we cannot expect every mother to breastfeed. And I feel moms are being very smart when they choose to formula feed. When they realize they're not getting enough milk, they are choosing to make sure that their child actually thrives by giving them formula. Do you know formula is the most regulated food product in the world?
No.
It has to be because it's being given to babies. There's a reason they put what they put in there. It's so strictly regulated because you're giving it to such small babies and they need so much nutrition that we don't need to fear it. And a lot of people say, oh, but they're adding sugar and vegetable oils. Do you know the reason they put the vegetable oils in the formula? Why do they put all of these vegetable oils? Is because they are mimicking the composition of the fatty acids in breast milk. And the only way to match that is by blending those vegetable oils together. They're not doing it for fun. The reason they're putting lactose in there and they're not putting oats and rice as the form of carbs is because they know that babies cannot digest oats at 1 month of age.
Yeah.
So, of course, breast is best, but it is totally okay to offer your child formula. They can still thrive. So I get very, very upset when moms feel bad about it. It's not fair.
Is there a superfood that could help with the kid's brain?
Yeah, you can do a smoothie. So coconut milk smoothie, it's very simple. You just take some unsweetened coconut milk. You can add a spoon of nut butter or tahini, then any fruit your child likes. So you can add that in as well. You can add a bit of oat powder and blend it. And you can offer it as a smoothie, or if your child doesn't like smoothies, freeze it and make it popsicle sticks and just enjoy an ice cream with them in the afternoon. So you can make it fun. And basically, all these ingredients are giving the fat, the protein for digestion, for brain growth, for them, their moods to be stable. All of this is beneficial.
So I've been noticing, because Noor is about
Yeah.
7 months, but so many of her peers actually started solids at 4 months. Is this a new trend? Is this what's being recommended for babies now?
So, actually, just in 2002, the World Health Organization changed starting solids from 4 months to 6 months. So, actually, for the longest time, babies were starting solids at 4 months. Now, when you start solids at 4 months, you can't even sit up. So, what was happening then? This is when all this dal ka pani, this rice cereal, all these companies took advantage. Let's make these rice cereals and sell it because babies cannot eat or chew, so they need to slurp food. You cannot start solids at 4 months. It is not okay because your baby, first of all, can't even sit up. They can't digest food properly. They don't have the enzymes to digest it. They don't have head and neck control. It's actually not safe to give them food earlier than that. And there's no need. Again, it stems back to our obsession with quantity. Let's just get them to eat so, they're happy. And even if your child is staring at you eating, it doesn't mean they're ready to eat. Even if they're up all night, so many people tell me, oh, my baby's up all night. They're hungry. I need to start solids. No, they're going through sleep progression. They're learning about the world, these milestones. We mistake it for, oh, I'm ready for solids.
Why do we give salt only after a baby turns 1?
So I'll just be technical about this. You need 400 mg from 0 to 1 years of age. 200 mg is coming from breast milk and formula. So that extra 200 mg, we cannot risk it. See, there's no study saying something bad happened because a baby had too much salt, but there's no study saying something really good happened. So we have to stay on the safe side. Post 1 year of age, they are allowed double the quantity. So then I recommend adding salt. And a lot of people say, oh, let's not bother with salt. It's okay. But actually, salt has a lot of minerals. It's okay. It's important to give kids. So do add a pinch of salt post 1 year of age. It's more the packaged foods with all that extra sodium that's causing a harm.
I think what you're doing is actually amazing, but I also know that so many parents still feel like, and I went through this as well. It's that you feel like, oh, why am I turning to a nutritionist? Like, this is basic, how we all grown up. There were no nutritionists back then for kids, and we turned out fine. And
We didn't turn out fine.
it's a mindset shift, right? That's
Yeah.
also required to actually come in and ask these questions and be able to be vocal about these questions and kind of not take for granted that, okay, my child is getting enough protein, my child is getting enough iron. Or do you think we're just a generation that's just obsessive about our kids?
I think we're asking the right questions now that our parents just didn't bother to ask. I feel it's so important today to be educated as a parent.
Are we overeducated though?
Of course. Because I remember before starting solids, I didn't know anything about nutrition. And the doctor told me to start at 5 months. And I went back home and I downloaded all the books. I followed everyone on Instagram. But then I was up every day till 5 a.m. because one book saying give liver and beef. And I'm like, my kids are vegetarian. Thank you very much. Another book is saying only purees. Another one saying only finger foods. And in fact, I was like crying because I was so overwhelmed. I went to the supermarket and I said, why are there 20 spoons? Like, which one do I choose? I was so overwhelmed. And guess what? I did all the wrong things, even though I had all the information in front of me. So I think today, as parents, it is very overwhelming, but that's why it's important for us to try and ask these right questions. And that's why you see now in the baby industry, there are people like nutrition consultants, sleep consultants, physiotherapists who are actually there to help you. And I think today as adults, we are asking for help. And I think that's kind of nice. Our parents never did it.
Yeah. And I really hope with this conversation, this episode, you've been able to kind of reach more people with your expert advice. It's been so great for me. So thank you. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you from the bottom of my heart for staying through and watching the entire episode. If this one added any value to your life, I'd love for you to hit that subscribe button. It helps this show reach more incredible people like you, and it tells us that you're here for more, so we work harder and bring even better guests every single time. Please tell me what in this episode touched you. I read every single comment, and this is the best way for us to get better at what we do.